Buddies, it's Late Night Lori from Lori's Little Bit of Crafting, coming to you at almost 11:15 on Tuesday, June 17th. So I'm a little earlier than I have been, but a little later than I wanted to be. So, welcome. Thanks for stopping by. Hopefully, we won't lose any power. We've got some pretty severe thunderstorms kind of rolling through the area. I haven't heard thunder for a couple minutes, but if things blip out, my generator should come on and I'll hop back on. So, welcome. We're going to look at notes and totes tonight. So, I'm taking a break from my new favorite embossing folder, the sunflower. If you were with me last night, I finished this card off thinking it might need either a bigger or another focal point, but when I tried another focal point, it just didn't look right. So I put it inside instead. So that's how I kind of finished up that one. These were just really fun cards to make with the new sunflower 3D embossing folder that will become available with the online exclusives in July. So I haven't played with this for a little bit, and I'm going to pair it with the 2025 to 2027 in color designer series papers. We've got Darling Duckling, Timid Tiger, Strawberry Slush. Cloud cover is hiding in here somewhere, unless I used it all. Oh, here we go. Here's some cloud cover. That's like a bluish gray, and then we've got Secret Sea, which is a nice dark blue. And I'm kind of becoming a bit fond of that for my sentiment stamps and even image stamps because it's not quite as dark as like a Memento Black, but it's dark enough that it really makes a very nice image. So I'm going to use some of these, and in fact, let me take out just a couple more of these that I might need. We'll see how far we get. I'm mostly going to show you a technique more than anything else, or I don't know, like a fun fold sort of thing. I wanted to try to find the Timid Tiger with the stripy back. And I just wonder if I may have used it all. That would be unfortunate. But that may be the case. So, if I come up with some later, I come up with some later. Because I don't think this is as big as I need it. Ooh, that might just work. 2 1/4, that's what I was kind of looking for. So, here's some of those. And we'll get this out of the way. Hi, Fifi, thanks for popping in. So, notes and totes is what's on the agenda tonight. And I'm going to use just a couple of images. I'm going to use this image. I use this on an envelope. And just a sentiment, just a note. So not a whole lot. I already have those on my blocks. And then as far as the dies, you can tell I kind of made a mess out of these. The tape on these sometimes doesn't hold once I start peeling stuff off. But I used just the tote die and the handle die. Now there's a couple of different handles, but I like this one, all right? So that's what I used, and I'm not going to leave those out because I've already kind of pre-cut everything to try to save some time. And I will get these out of the way. Hopefully I won't need anything in there. And let's kind of show you. I feel like this needs something on the front. So I was trying to do it as just a stamp, ink, and paper sort of thing for people that maybe don't have a whole lot of supplies or all of the things. And this did kind of work. You know, this is just repeating design on here that I used with that image. The Just a Note. I really love that font. And then I used the little hibiscus, I think that's a hibiscus, on the front of my envelope. But what I did was I cut this to, I think, 3 3 3/4, and then I have 2 1/4 left over. So that's my 6-inch piece because I like to glue them on my envelope flaps. I know, I wish this was 12 by 12 too, because I love this. I love those kind of, I don't know, tropical flower kind of prints. So anyway, and Notes and Totes is just really fun. So I kind of worked up a sample. It's not entirely done because I wanted to get online and get going with this. So when we were at On Stage, Becca, I think her last name is Santos. I don't remember for sure. But she demonstrated this at Raleigh in the US. And I just thought it was so cute. I already knew that I wanted this, but when I saw her do this little tote with a gift card, easily can be put in there, I thought I just need to do this. So one thing I considered was I could do it landscaped and have it open like this and maybe put, you know, you could put some more designer series paper in here or whatever. However you do it, either landscape or portrait, my recommendation would be, you know, I've got some tissue paper that I shoved in here just for kicks because it kind of hides the base, and I'll show you how to do it. It's so easy. But my recommendation would be, well, I guess I kind of have that gift card backwards, to find a way to use a glue dot, at least a glue dot, to keep your gift card secure. Okay, so it doesn't go falling out. And if you were to do it landscaped, when the recipient opens the card, you know, if they pull it out, that gift card could start falling out. So something to keep in mind. So this is kind of what we're shooting for. So this is 3 3/4 by 5.5. I wanted it to go the whole length of the paper, or whole length of the card base rather. My 2 1/4 piece, I glued onto the flap and then just trimmed it. And then on the inside, this piece is just 3 1/4 by 5.5. Okay, so 5.5, 3 1/4, right on it before you put it in your card, because it's going to be, for a right-hander, maybe not so bad, but me, I'm a left-hander. That would be like almost impossible for me to write nicely. So let's get down to business with my next colors. So like I said, I pre-cut a couple of things just so I can show you what's going to happen with these. Excuse me. So should I do Strawberry Slush or Timid Tiger? Strawberry Slush or Timid Tiger. So this will kind of look like this, because I don't have that larger size of that one. I could probably put 2 on there and nobody would really be that much wiser. Because if I just kind of put my design over it, maybe. Strawberry Slush it is. That'll be easier since I'd have to piece those together. But I am still going to make this one because I really like this Timid Tiger. So basically what we need is your card base. Now I didn't bring an insert in here. We can steal it from this one. We'll just pretend it belongs in here. Write what you want to write on there first, and then attach it once the tote is inside. All right. So we've got our card front, and I am going to use, I like the stripes, but I also like this one. So Starscape or stripes? Fifi, you're the only one chatting. What do you think? The galaxy or the stripes? Stripes. That's what I had in my hand. We're like reading each other's minds here. So I'm going to go 3 3/4 And then this will leave me a 2 1/4, just a perfect fit for an envelope flap. And when I do my envelope flaps, to make sure that it goes all the way down to the end, I leave just an itty bitty bit of a border at the top with the white, so it's not hanging off the edge of the envelope. All right, so we're gonna hang on to this. And then I need to do this at 5 1/2. And we'll get this out of the way. And I liked how it bordered, like on here, I have just a narrow border on the left and a wider border on the right. So I'm gonna do the same thing. But first, I'm gonna stamp. So in case I mess it up, I can use another piece, all right? So I am going to use Secret C. Now, we could always practice on another piece because I could do tone on tone, which with the strawberry slush might look really cute. Let me wash this off. So let's maybe try tone on our little flap piece for our envelope. Because if we don't like it, it's like whoever is getting the card doesn't know that it wasn't really intended. So let's just do a little bit of this. And I'm gonna move it in just a little bit, knowing that that's just gonna be side of our flap. So we could do tone on tone for the front of the card or the Secret C. What do you think? Tone on tone or Secret C? And I don't know if, I mean, the sentiment would be bright enough too, because strawberry slush is pretty bright. All right, tone on tone, Secret C. Good choice. I think it'll show up better, but I'll still save this for my envelope. All right, so let's close up the strawberry slush so I don't make a mess. So all I did with this then is just did a repeating line down one side of that designer series paper. And I'm going to put this on my piercing mat just to give me a little cushion here. And it doesn't have to be perfect. I just want it to kind of connect. So there's that. And then we're going to do our just a note. And if I messed it up, I figured all I would have to do is get a white piece of cardstock, basic white, and put it on, you know, a circle or something and make a focal point out of the sentiment. All right. So this then will go on the front of our card, just like so. All right. So let's just glue that quick so we know we're done with that. And I have a preference for the multi-purpose liquid glue. Fifi, you've heard me say this before, just because it gives me some wiggle room if I don't have things on here quite straight. Because then I can shift it over just a little bit, and like here, not quite sure how that happened. I have it a little low. Shift. There. That was pretty lucky because it was really starting to stick pretty good. All right. So let's move on to, let me get rid of that Pearson mat. We're going to move on to our tote. Now, when you cut out your tote, there's a little flap on here. When I made, Fifi, did you see the card in the water bottle that I made using this tote, Notes and Totes? I can hop over and get that. So when I did the 3D tote, I left the flaps in there. I'm almost back. All right, so with this tote, I left the flaps in there, and you can probably see them right there because it camouflaged the hole. And even on the inside, it kind of camouflages it. So on this yellow one, on the Timid Tiger, or Darling Duckling rather, I took those flaps out because when I collapsed my card, I wasn't confident that they would fold nice. So I just felt it was safer to take them out. All right. So I'm going to follow suit, and I'm just going to cut them off here because I think it will be better. All right. So we'll get this out of the way. And then this one, it didn't matter because I just did one piece and I cut that piece off for just the front of the card. All right, so it wasn't a 3D. So let's get the snips. And we're just gonna snip right on that little fold line on both of these. All right. And then for my envelope, that's for the inside. Let's move these out of the way here. And then I'm just going to fold these on those score lines. And a lot of times, even with my 3D items, I will use the liquid glue. On this one, I decided just to use the tear and tape because it's not going to have that much stress. And I think it was just easier for me to do the tear tape because it's just the exact width that we need for that folded section. Okay. And then I usually take a bone folder and I like to burnish my tear and tape on there. And then I'm just going to trim off these pieces here. Didn't expect for it to stick to my scissors that side, but it happens. Oops. There we go. All right. And if I can get these off my fingers, we'll move on. All right. So what I did then is decided I need to make sure I do my handles before I attach the bag to the inside of the card. But when I put these together initially, I put my pieces together to line them up. And if you're a sewer, you might think, oh, we can just attach both sides, and oh wait, we can't turn it inside out. So I'll do that one, and then we'll just flip this one over. And we'll take off this other one here. And then just push this down. All right. Oh, and I guess that's not quite lined up. Let's see if I can tear it apart gently. It wasn't quite lined up. It happens. And I'm trying to be conscious of the time because I know sometimes my videos go too long. At least my husband will say, that went 43 minutes. Yeah, I'm sorry, we did 4 cards. All right. So now what I'm going to do is glue on these handles. And I'm just going to line them up so that these points here are at the edge of my bag. So we'll just go ahead and put it on that bottom part of the handle. And we'll set it on there as close to centered as we can. All right, and then I'm going to turn this over. Time is fine. Well, thank you, Fifi. I figure, you know, if it goes too long and somebody needs to leave, then, you know, just leave. And if you want to see the rest of the card, just come back and do the replay. Or maybe speed it up. I think you can do that on videos, right? So here what I'm doing is I'm lining up the handles before I press this part down on this side. And voila, a beautiful little tote bag with a handle. Now there are some other pieces from the dies. Let me grab those. So like the base of the bag. Fifi, do you have this set? This piece, you can see it here, cuts out this and the two straps. So it cuts out the bottom of the bag and then the two straps. And I certainly could have done that on this card, but you know, maybe I'll do it on the Timid Tiger one, but I didn't do it on here. And I'm using Secret C here. So I might do that on the other ones. Let me put these back in here so I don't lose something. I usually, before I put things away, I usually do like a head count to make sure I have all my pieces and all of my stamps. All right. So that will go there. And now we're going to take this out. All we're going to do is make sure that these score lines are folded. And we're going to put some liquid glue or tear and tape if that's your preference. Sometimes I find even on my 3D items, my tear and tape separates. So that's why I usually just use my liquid glue. I know the tear and tape is supposed to be a stronger tape for 3D items, but when you like an adhesive, you like an adhesive, right? All right, so this, I'm just gonna set it inside my card. I'm not gonna jam it all the way into the edge because I don't really need to. And then we're just gonna close that. I'm gonna let it sit a second, so while I do that, patriotic card for your Make It Monday. Oh, you should send me a picture of that. I would love to see that. So this is just gonna go on the flap. So while this is setting, we're gonna go ahead and put this together. I did that flag one for Memorial Day based on that picture I had painted. I think that's a great theme for a class. All right. Now, on Thursday, we've got some family coming in from Arizona. And we've got a baby shower on Saturday. So there may be some days, it's the Italian side of the family, and they like to stay up and visit because we don't see each other real often. But there's lots of visiting and laughing and games and eating. So there might be some nights over the next week or so that I'm not doing a video. I'm hoping that we'll be home in time for me to do these because we have to drive about 40 minutes to where family headquarters will be. So lots of cooking. It's a mix. There are some Italian restaurants in Kenosha. So sometimes we'll do one of the Italian restaurants down there. There's also an anniversary, so we're doing a special dinner for the anniversary couple. So yeah, it's going to be a busy time. So we've got a baby shower, a 40th wedding anniversary dinner, and then just lots of family time. So, all right, so here's the front. Now, I know I would probably put on some gems or something, or I might make a tote to put, I got a piece of paper there. I might put a tote or, I don't know, something on the front, but then when we open it, check that out. Isn't that just adorable? All right. So if you open it super wide, like I did on this one, you will get some of these edges that kind of open or crease themselves, kind of like a shopping bag might. So you can either let it do that, or with one of my next ones, see, some of this will peel away from the card a little bit, but this one's doing the same thing. So the more I open it, those sides kind of fold in, and you can just kind of coax it a little bit. Or one other thing I might try is not gluing all the way to the edge of, like here. If I just snip one of these. Instead of putting the glue all the way here, I may just have the glue stop like maybe 3/8 of an inch, a 1/4 inch in, and then it might lift different. So I'll try that on the Timid Tiger one. But isn't that just adorable? And then this piece, like I said, put your information on there, whatever you want your message to be. Put that on there first, and then you can put that on there. And then, you know, you could put some designer series paper here, or you could layer some designer series paper and have it symmetrical, you know, and have white on both sides with some designer series paper. So those will be finishing touches that I decide on when I actually get ready to give this to somebody. But I think I might make this into, excuse me, hopefully my niece is not watching. I might try to make this into a little diaper bag, you know, a diaper bag look, so that when she opens it up, it'll be a diaper bag. Oops, I guess I should do it this way. There. So I think that would be a cute idea. So yeah, DSP on the left I think would probably work as well. And I would probably want to do, well, I don't know, because the inside of the bag has this on it, because that's the flip side of this one. But you could draw in the front into the inside, which would be my tendency. So if I get that paper out, let's just go ahead and cut. And we'll do 3 1/4, because that's what the white piece is. And 5 1/2. So you could put that in there. And then what you could also do is take a little strip and maybe, oh, I guess I should cut that down to 5 1/4. Yeah, I think a diaper bag would be cute. But I'm going to have to get, oh, how did I cut that too? I cut that too short. Oh, I needed 5 1/2, not 5 1/4. Silly me. All right, well, we'll try this again. We'll go 5 1/2 this time. So yeah, I think the diaper bag would be fun. And this niece, I have given her cards before, and she is just very appreciative of the handmade cards, and she understands the work that goes into that kind of thing. So I guess maybe if we did like that, that could be pretty cute. And then maybe I would put a piece of white like here to give it balance. Because for me, I need to kind of have the balance. All right. So there's that one with an envelope. I know, I gave a card to somebody once, and they opened it up in front of me and said, "Oh, that's a really nice card. Thank you so much." And then put it in the recycle bin right in front of me. And I'm like, that was a card that I spent a lot of time on for you. But it was a guy, and just didn't have the same appreciation for handmade cards that some of my female friends do. So I think that has changed. That was several years ago, and now he buys cards from me. So he and his wife have bought several cards for me. So should we go ahead and do Timid Tiger, or should we call it a night? Timid Tiger or call it a night? Where's my card base? Here's my card base. Do it. You're great, Fifi. All right, so we're going to change this one up, and we're going to use this for the front because I don't know. I really like this stripy design, but I'm going to have to piece it. And I don't know if, I don't think it's going to show, quite honestly. From here, I think it's going to work. So let's cut these down to 5.5. And hopefully I won't shortchange any of my pieces. Yeah, I think because of the stripes, it was pretty camouflaged. So, you know, sometimes it doesn't show up through the camera, but, you know, when I look at it in person, it's like, oh, that probably, I probably should have done something different, but it doesn't show up on the camera the same. So these then I want to be at, I think I did 3 3/4. Yeah, I did 3 3/4. So I'm going to butt them up together rather than have to do any math to see how much I have to cut off. And I'm just going to put this to 3 1/4, and I'm going to cut that off. And I'm going to hang on to this because I'll probably want that for the inside. All right. So I think what I'll do with this one then too is to help cover that seam, we're going to put the flowers, I'm going to put the seam part on the left side because my flowers are going to cover that up a little bit. So let's, oh, you just said that. Huh. Fifi, you're way ahead of me. But yeah, I think that works. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a piece of tear and tape along the back, and that's going to kind of hold these together. And I don't even have to take the backing off, although I certainly could. And we'll just put those together, and I really don't think that's going to show. And I do have, let's pull out the Timid Tiger ribbon, or Secret C, depending on how bright we wanted it to be. We could do something totally different. So if I put this here, I think that ribbon is going to make it look, I don't know that I like it with ribbon kind of not quite in the middle, because I normally do my ribbons more off to the side. I don't know that that's balanced enough. Let's put the flowers on and see how it looks. I can always take another piece and figure something out. Yeah, the ribbon's too far to the right, but it was a good idea. Good idea. So let's go ahead and do these. Now, I don't have, here, we've got this little piece here, so we can look at what the tone on tone would look like, and then decide, here, I need to wash this. You can tell my chamois are well loved. And they really are. I love that chamois. I'm so glad they came out with that. All right, so let's see what this tone on tone looks like with this. Ooh. So then we're looking at tone on tone. Again, we have to make a decision. Or Secret C. Knowing that that's going to be like so. Still with the contrast. Okay. I'm good with that. All right, so let's go ahead and close this up. And let me take a look at these dies to see. There's seashells, but I don't see like a hibiscus on here. Yeah, there's no hibiscus, which is unfortunate because I think that would have been really cute. All right. So let's go ahead and stamp some flowers on here, and that's going to camouflage this seam really well. Nobody will know. No one will know. And then I think we could use a punch and make a focal point with the sentiment, or we could just do it on here. I think I might like a focal point. Let's get another piece of Timid Tiger. I don't think I have a scrap here. Alrighty, and I think I need my 2-inch punch because the 1 7/8 punch is not quite big enough. I could always use one of my, what are they, stylish shapes? Yeah, the stylish shapes. I could always use one of those circles, but I don't know that the dashed stitch lines is what I'm looking for. I guess we'll go here in case I want to use this for like a shaker card or something. All right. And then let's go ahead with this. There we go. And then let's do some Timid Tiger and do an accent flower. All right. All right, so that's there. I think I can get rid of this. Oh, Spotlight on Nature. That's probably not a bad idea. That could probably work. I think that one, that would be a tight fit, but it might work. Let's give it a try. Let's just see how we like it. Because sometimes that's what you have to do, is just see what it looks like. Hopefully in the meantime, I won't lose any pieces. And then we'll just have to cut this down so it fits in my little mini guy here. Where'd I go? Here we go. So this one we just need the base plate and then the cutting plates. I use one cutting plate as my top exclusively, and then I let the bottom one take all the cutting. When this one gets too dilapidated, then I'll take my top plate, make it into the new bottom plate, and then I'm just replacing one plate at a time, because then I've got a pretty plate for the top and I like to be able to see through it nice, and I think it shows better on the camera here. And all right. Let's see how that looks. Put that away so I don't lose that die. And I don't know if Fifi you do this, but I put the number, how many pieces of my dies should be in there. And I know it's on the title page. I know it's right here. But sometimes I don't want to flip my dies over because they might come off. So I'll say if I've got 1 sheet or 2 sheets, and then I know if I've got all my dies. So before I put them away, I know I'm not going to be looking for one later. Yeah, the label maker is a good idea, and I do some of that like on my stamp sets. So like here, I'll use a label maker to label what catalog it's from. But I decided just to write it in my, just write it right on those cards. All right, so let's go ahead and put this back. I'm gonna go ahead and glue this on now. Get rid of 1 loose piece. And slide that up to the top a little bit here. I don't know why I kind of have a frog in my throat, it feels like. Our winds were different, so we should not have been getting smoke from Canada today because our winds are coming from like the southwest today. All right. So I think that'll be fine. Whoever gets this is not going to care. And then if we do something like this, it's going to be even more camouflaged. I do like it with that Spotlight on Nature die. All right, so let's get out our Secret C. Yeah, I have bifocals, but quite honestly, I'm nearsighted. So if I take off my glasses, it's easier for me to read things. It's kind of crazy. All right. And I wonder if that flower would still look nice on there, even with the little ridges. I think it looks okay. I like it with the flower on there. All right, so let's close some inks. And then this could even then go up on dimensionals. And we could add a little bit of flare of ribbon maybe. I don't want to make it too crazy. I don't know if I like it with the ribbon. Let's get the spool out of the way and see how it looks. All right, so if we do something like this, that actually could be kind of cute. Well, let's give that a whirl. I kind of like that. So I'm going to put a little bit of seal here because this one's going to go like this. And then we'll put a little bit more seal maybe. I want to put that up on dimensionals, and then we'll do a little bit more seal here. All right, I think that'll work. And then let's get some dimensionals. And the dimensionals will help hold that ribbon in place too, but I like to have it secured so it doesn't like snake its way out of there. Alrighty, it's coming together. I think that is really cute. And I mean, I can see that the seam is there, but I really don't think that whoever gets it is going to see it or care. All right, so let's move on to our little bag, our little tote. And we can save this for something else. So again, I'm cutting off these pieces. And then we'll put some tear and tape on one of these. I suppose I should probably score these or fold them on the score lines rather. Yeah, that turned out pretty good. Teamwork. We'll figure it out. And if it doesn't work, then, you know, it just doesn't work. Then I'll take stuff apart and I'll use pieces for something else. I'm just going to finger crease that a little bit more. All right. Tear and tape. Tear and tape. And then this one I'm going to try, again, not to put the glue all the way over. In fact, let's just snip these in a little bit and see if that makes a difference. And if it doesn't work, I can always just tear it out of the card and put a new one in. I'll do that on my own time so that I'm not wasting your time. Alrighty. We're getting there. I'm trying to get this tear and tape off my finger. There we go. Get my debris out of the way. And try to get pieces taken care of. All right. So let's, I guess I still need that bone folder. Burnish those on. I just find that my tape does stick a little bit better when I burnish that on there. All right, and we can put these face to face. Try to get lined up a little bit better this time. Okay. Sometimes I have to use my take your pick tool to get those tear and tape backings off, because sometimes I just can't quite get it with my fingernails. All right, glue on our hand. Oh, should I do those strap pieces, do you think, on this one, just to see how it looks? Yeah, sometimes those backings are just kind of stubborn. Let me see. No secret C scraps. We'll remedy that. Hopefully this is big enough. Oh yeah. All right, let's bring in our little Sweet Bessie. I guess I need that piece. Yeah, this set has been very fun to work with. I find that I'm not quite as judicious with my cardstock anymore. I used to save all my itty bitty little scraps, and now I get to a point where I don't want to save them anymore. So I'll just use up stuff, and if it's big enough where I might be able to do like an embossed sentiment on it, fine, but otherwise I'm done with it. What was your question? Which two? I don't know what we were talking about. Or maybe we were talking about these straps. I don't know. Oh, I needed another set. Well, that was silly. Because I need one for both sides of the bag since it pops up in the middle. We'll see if my little scrap is big enough. Yeah, I'll keep some of my scraps, and I keep them right in my cardstock sleeve, because with my cardstock I have open shelves to put all my cardstock on, and I just open one end of the package and I slide everything in and out. So I keep all of my, ooh, that's like perfect fit. I keep all of my little remnants in the color where it belongs. I used to keep them in a separate little bin, and then when I wanted something, I could never find quite what I wanted. So I just started putting them with the cardstock that they belong to. All right. My granddaughter Riley did that one time with the dies on a video where she slams it down to get them to pop out. Usually it'll work just like that, you know, nice, easy as pie. But I think she had to throw it down a couple of times, and a friend of mine was watching, and she said, oh yeah, she made me laugh throwing that down like that. So this will go like so. So let's start gluing. Of course you label it with a label maker. I used to, but then when I get a little behind, then I get a lot behind, and then I figure, what's the point? I think I might need just a little bit more glue on there. All right, so this is going to go down here. I should probably have put the straps on first, so I'm not going to push that down real hard just yet, because the straps need to go like here. I could have used like adhesive sheets on here if I'd have been thinking ahead, but when you craft on the fly, you don't always think of those things. All right, so if we're going to do that there, this piece is going to go right under there, and then we'll just have that extra piece to snip off. So I think when we do the other side, we'll put the straps on first, because then it'll go the whole length of the bag instead of just tucked on the end. Riley is, she's my buddy. She loves to craft, and she's learning so much, and then like even some of the lingo. I need more embellishments, Grandma. Or, you know, whatever it is at the time. But can we make a video, Grandma? I'll do the talking, and I put this on kind of crooked. So I think we're going to have to put the handle up a little bit more, because I wasn't centering the handle at the time. That's going to have to go there. I didn't really plan ahead like I should have. Let's see if that's going to kind of line up. It'll work. It'll work. But yeah, Riley, she's done pretty good with doing the videos even. But with the cards, she will, if I just give her stuff and have her do it, and you can see how I'm kind of finger creasing these sides so that they don't peel off when the card is opened. If I just give her stuff to work with, she just randomly makes a card typical of a 7-year-old. But if I have like kits ready to go for a class or something, or where I've had a class and there's a kit left over, or there's a stamp set that she knows she likes, she will say like Waves of the Ocean, I think is the name of it. We had it a while ago. She loved that one, and she's like, Grandma, I want to do a waves card. So when she has a sample to copy, she is meticulous. She will look at the sample and she'll line up her piece, and she'll look at the sample and she'll line up her piece, and then she'll finally put it on. She does, I think, does really well, but I might be biased. Yeah, that was one of my favorites. And the paper with that one, with that Waves of the Ocean, I don't even remember what the suite was called, but the foil paper, gorgeous. I still have some pieces of it. Sometimes when there's a set like that that I really like, I just can't get rid of some of my leftovers. So this one, what I'm going to do is try not to get too much glue on my fingers. I'm going to start here and push it down to the bottom of the bag, because that's really how it's intended. I am a little bit of a DSP hoarder. To be honest, I'm a lot of a DSP hoarder. I am doing better at trying to get rid of some of my old things though, because you get to the point where it's like, oh, I like this new stuff better, and I'm never going to use that. And when my mother passed away, my parents were living here because we built an addition for them to move in. I don't know if I mentioned that before. But with the addition, we did this crafting space so that my mom and I could craft together more, because she was one of my best customers until she joined, and then she was one of my best team members. But she would get a lot of the same things I got because we had similar tastes, of course, because we're mother and daughter. And I would say, well, Mom, why don't you get something different? I already have that one. You can use mine anytime. It's right here. I want my own. So I still have a lot of the supplies that she had that many of which duplicated things that I have, but they're good memories. And she unfortunately passed away 9 months after they moved in. Crazy. But at least we had those 9 months where we were in the craft room pretty much every day doing stuff together or just chit-chatting. It was nice. Good memories. Really good memories. All right. How's that tote looking? I think it would have looked better if I'd had the straps out a little bit further, but it is what it is. All right, so let's go on to where the magic gift card goes. And we'll see how this mitering cut works. All right. So we'll put glue here. And some on the flip side. Get rid of that. And again, we're just going to put this in here. Not snug into the crease. I don't know if it would make a difference if you would put it snug into the crease, but part of what I found when I was playing with the pieces was they need a certain amount of space so that they're not overlapping, because otherwise the bag's not going to open very nice. All right, and let's just open this and push it down. That worked pretty good. It's still a little wet, so I'm gonna give it a second or two more here. We could find, well, here's this one. We could go ahead and glue this stuff in. And I'm gonna trim this white piece down because I can use the rest of this. Since I've got 3 cards, we'll just cut that into 3 pieces. We'll just start gluing some of that while the other one sits. Yeah, these totes I think are just, whoever came up with this, whatever concept artist or whoever, man, they hit a home run with that one. Because that is, it's adorable. Absolutely adorable. And I probably would have thought about having the tote as like a treat holder, but because I went to On Stage and Becca demonstrated it, I'm like, oh my gosh, that is absolutely adorable. Absolutely adorable. So it's like, okay, I gotta remember that. All right. And I think with this tropical themed paper, it just goes really well with the beachy vibe. And I like water related nautical things. And unfortunately I can't be in the sun a lot because I have a tendency to develop skin cancers. So it's a shame that I like the water and the sun and all of that because I can't spend a whole lot of time out in it directly. So when we travel, I'm usually, you know, staying in the shade. But there, that side looks pretty good. And then this side we'll do, whoops, we'll do one of these. All right, so there's the summer strawberry slush. There's that one. And then we're going to pretend that little white piece is still in there, and we're going to put this one here. And we'll do this one, I think, because that's the inside of the bag. I think that'll kind of pull it together because I don't have a big enough piece of the stripe, although I could just frame it in white and then it would draw in the front. What do you think? And then this would be the reverse piece, maybe. I thought I had that piece. Here we go. The galaxy one. Yeah. And the galaxy one is what's inside the bag, so I think that would work probably better. All right, so let's trim this. And I think I did 3 1/4. Yep, 3 1/4. Oh, and I need it 5 1/2. And then we'll attach these like so. And that will go there. Maybe. And then this I'll trim down and we'll frame that. So there'll be some balance there. Okay. All right. So I'll finish these up. I'll post pictures and put them on my Facebook page. And I think that's a wrap. All right. And then I'll do my envelope flaps for each of them. So here we go. So we've got a couple of them with the envelopes done. So Darling Duckling, that one actually has a little gift card in there with the borrowed sentiment piece. I like the bright white in here because I think it gives that yellow a little different look. All right. And I don't know, I might put the sentiment on something else. Just, I really like how that looks. So anyway, there's our Darling Duckling, strawberry slush. Love it. and then our timid tiger. All right, and then these pieces obviously are going to go inside, and I'll finish all those. But I'm going to post these on my Facebook page. Pop over them. Give me a thumbs up if you like. Feel free to share this because it wasn't my original idea. You know, Becky demonstrated it, so, or Becca rather. And let me know if you do this with other papers or, you know, even other colors, of course. Add pictures to your comments on my Facebook page. And until next time, that's all I've got. So happy crafting.